We will begin the inaugural program in a short while. The conference will be inaugurated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, presided over by His Eminence Mar Basilios Cardinal Klimis, along with the Chancellor of Christ University, Dr. Father Thomas Aikara, the Vice Chancellor of Christ University, and Dr. Father Thomas C. Matthew. Please remain standing as Christ University Choir sings the national anthem. Please be seated. The Christ University dance team, Natyarpana, will invoke the divine blessings through the invocation dance, Natyarpana. That was Natyarpana, the Christ University dance team of students and teachers of the BA Performance Studies program. May I now invite the Chancellor of Christ University, Dr. Father Thomas Aikara, to lead His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Eminence Mar Basilios Cardinal Clemis, and other dignitaries, along with the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Father Thomas C. Matthew, to the dais to light the lamp, as the Christ University sings the Invocation song. I also invite Dr. Antoon van der Wilde, Institute of Catholic University Leuven, Belgium, Johan de Tavernier, Faculty of Philosophy, Belgium, Robert Grebner, President, University of Applied Sciences, Germany, Dr. Anton Giels, University of Lund, Sweden, Dr. Richard Swiss, Catholic University of Eastern Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, Dr. Peter S. Schneller, University of Mount Union, Ohio, Dr. Father Kurian also to light the lamp. I request the dignitaries to take their seats on the dais. May I call upon the convener of the conference on bounds of ethics in a globalized world, Kurian Kachapalli, to welcome the gathering, Dr. Father Kachapalli.
A very good morning and most cordial welcome. Your Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, Your Eminence, Basilios Cardinal Clemis, Reverend Dr. Thomas Aikara, our dear Rector and Chancellor of Christ University, Dr. Colonel Thomas C. Matthew, Vice Chancellor, Christ University, our dear patrons, distinguished guests, invitees, speakers, delegates, participants, and my dear Christites. Most cordial welcome to the International Conference, Bounds of Ethics 2014. Bounds of Ethics. Doesn't the very title sound something unethical about it? Asked some of my colleagues and friends. Some years ago, the sociologist Raymond Bauhart asked academicians and business people this simple question: what does ethics mean to you? Some of the replies were the following. Some said, ethics has to do with what my feelings tell me what is right and wrong. Some others said, ethics has to do with my religious beliefs. Some others said, being ethical is doing what the law requires. Some others had said, ethics consists of the standards of behavior of our society we live. Yet some quipped, oh, ethics, I don't know what the word means. To be sure, ethics is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. The first step in the evolution of ethics is a sense of solidarity with other human beings. But it can only attain its full breadth and depth if it embraces all living creatures. Bounds of Ethics 2014 offers a platform for scholars from across the globe to come together and exchange their views and reviews on these vital issues and questions, and to explore methodically the bounds of ethical consideration in all types of human relations and interactions. At this juncture, it's my rare privilege and honor to welcome you all to the inaugural ceremony of the 4-day International Conference BOE 2014. His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, describes himself as a simple Buddhist monk. He is a spiritual leader of Tibet. He was born on 6 July 1935 to a farming family in a small hamlet located in Chancellor, northeastern Tibet. At the very young age of 2, the child was recognized as a reincarnation of the previous 13th Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lamas are believed to be manifestations of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion and the patron saint of Tibet. His Holiness began his monastic education at the age of 6, and at 23, His Holiness sat for his final examination in Lhasa's Yokam temple and was awarded the Geshe Lamba degree, the highest level degree equivalent to a doctorate of Buddhist philosophy. In 1950, His Holiness was called upon to assume political power after China's invasion of Tibet. However, during the 1959 Tibetan uprising, the Dalai Lama was forced to leave for India and established a Tibetan government in exile. And since then, he has been living in Dharamshala, northern India. He has traveled worldwide, advocating for the welfare of Tibetans, teaching Tibetan Buddhism, and talking about the importance of compassion as a source of a happy life. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, is a man of peace. In 1989, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his non-violent struggle for the liberation of Tibet. He has consistently advocated policies of non-violence, even in the face of extreme aggression. His Holiness has traveled to more than 67 countries spanning 6 continents. He has received over 150 awards, honorary doctorates, prizes, etc., in recognition of his message of peace, non-violence, interreligious understanding, universal responsibility, and above all, compassion. He has also authored or co-authored more than 110 books. Since the mid-1980s, His Holiness has begun a dialogue with modern scientists, mainly in the field of psychology, neurobiology, quantum physics, and cosmology. And this has led to a historic collaboration between Buddhist monks and world-renowned scientists in trying to help individuals achieve peace of mind. Today, we are privileged to have His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, with us to deliver the keynote address at the International Conference Bounds of Ethics, BOE 2014. In the name of all gathered here, dear speakers, delegates, and participants, and the name of our dear Rector, dear Vice Chancellor, and the faculty and students of Christ University, may I accord to you, Your Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, a most cordial and warm welcome.
After those warm words of welcome, it is my pleasure to invite the President of this inaugural program, His Eminence, Mar Basilios Cardinal Klimis, for the presidential remark.
Your Holiness, Dalai Lama, Chief Guest of the Day, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kurian, distinguished guest on the dais, respected participants, good morning to you all, a warm namaskaram. I'm deeply happy and privileged to be part of this historic and inspiring academic event, International Conference on the Bounds of Ethics in a Globalized World. We are here to reflect on and discuss an extremely pertinent topic. In the globalized world, the question of ethics, its understandings, its implications, its bounds are of crucial importance. First of all, I congratulate the Christ University for having taken this creative and relevant initiative in organizing this international conference, which is of utmost relevance in the present scenario. All of us are blessed by the gracious presence of His Holiness Dalai Lama, who is one of the most listened moral voices of our times. I wish him God's abundant blessings for his continuous efforts to bring justice and peace to his own people and the people at large. I especially congratulate the Christ University, one of the most reputed seat of learning in India, and it's the convener, Dr. Kurian Kachapalli, who took strenuous efforts in making this dream a reality. Most sincerely, I thank the organizers for having invited me to preside over this function. At the very outset, I warmly greet the resource persons, experts, the participants, the team of organizers, and every one of you gathered here to make this conference an enriching and enlightening event. Among you, I see the person of Archbishop Thomas Manambarambil, who continues to inspire all of us in this great event, and education. Let the bounds of ethics allow us to meet and to speak to one another, learn from others, listen to their thoughts and findings. Thus, let our moral imagination expand to plentiful meeting points rather than to the limiting principles. I wish you all God's blessings for a genuine, fruitful, significant interaction. Wish you all a very happy new year. Thank you for listening. God bless you.
After that presidential remarks, I now have the privilege of inviting the Chancellor of Christ University and Rector of Dharmaram College, Dr. Father Thomas Aikara, for the felicitation speech.
Your Eminence, Basilius Cardinal Clemis, dear Reverend Thomas C. Matthew, our beloved Vice Chancellor of Christ University, dear Reverend Dr. Kurian Kachapalli, the convener of this international conference, respected delegates, members of our faculty, and my dear participants. I'm immensely happy that our Christ University is organizing a 4-day international seminar on ethics in a globalized world. We also feel doubly privileged that we have two eminent spiritual leaders on the dais, His Holiness Dalai Lama and another one of our spiritual leaders, Cardinal Basilius Clemis here. We are immensely happy that both of you are present at the same time on the dais here. This seminar offers us a platform to see whether the merging and meeting of diverse ethical visions in an interface beyond bounds of specific ethics is possible and useful to attain a fuller and a meaningful human life. This collective endeavor to run against the boundaries of language, to say something about the ultimate meaning of life, is certainly one of the noblest pursuits we humans could undertake here. I wish and pray that this intellectual exercise brings salutary fruits to make our life on earth a little more harmonious and happier than the day in the past. Let us try to get awakened to a broader and a deeper consciousness of connectivity and collective complementarity. Let our sincere search and collective discussions help us to understand better the fast evolving nature of ethical understanding from different perspectives. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so much.
The Vice Chancellor of Christ University, the host institution of this conference, Colonel Dr. Father Matthew, will now share his thoughts on this occasion.
Your Holiness Dalai Lama, Your Eminence Basilius Cardinal Clemis, Reverend Father Thomas Aikara, Chancellor and Rector, Reverend Father Kurian Kachapalli, convener of the program, distinguished guest professors, participants, delegates from various universities, and dear Christ University students. This is one of the program I am attending. People are very serious. I was thinking, what is the problem? Nobody is smiling. I was talking to all these holy people sitting on the dais. They are human beings fundamentally. So any seminar starts on relaxing. Hope that all these 4 days will help all of you for a relaxing experience in bounds of ethics. Why Christ University as a university come to this end? I think 2011, this great man who is sitting in this end, Father Kurian, asked me, why can't we have a program on ethics in 2014? I said, I have to exist for 3 more years, then only I can say whether I can do or not. But he existed. He did that. So I had to congratulate Father Kurian for the wonderful opportunity he has given to the university through his hard work and systematic approach. Universities are existing to contribute to the civilization through creation of knowledge, preservation of knowledge, and propagation of knowledge. The present university system, if you trace back, may be around 800 to 900 years old, maybe. But in our country, we have a large tradition, we say. But the modern education system has not more than 200 years of tradition. And again, that comes from the philosophy, I feel, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant. I think Professor Würzburg is surprising why an Indian is talking, you have to the people to say. See, Immanuel Kant is the first person talking on 3 levels of thinking. One is with pure reason. So he put science in pure reason. I'm a chemistry teacher, so my chemistry comes in that part of pure reason. And again, practical reason. So practical reason where you have humanities, social sciences. Today we want social science, business management, all these comes to the practical as practical reason. And the third is aesthetics. Father Rector was talking where aesthetics, what is this aesthetics? In Immanuel Kant's philosophy or concept, it is more of music and art and dance, that part of it. Everybody has all these 3 parts, one way or other. So today we have Department of Humanities, Department of Social Sciences, or Deanery of Humanities. All these are happening from this kind of concept, and it is very generically accepted in the world. Where ethics come? It's debatable, but probably I may put it in practical reasoning. If I am living alone in one place, I don't require what is my ethic, who is bothered. When I am connecting to a community, in today's world, we live in a community, and question of ethics come. Bounds of ethics, probably I have to say the horizon of ethics, and it has an unlimited way of debating and processing. We need medical ethics, we have environmental ethics, we have ethics in array. The parallel session, concurrent sessions, what you are going to have in the afternoon, tomorrow and day after, is going to deal all those things. I think this community of you great people across the world, representing across the world, across the globe, when you discuss all those things, you are doing a wonderful job discerning and disseminating something, evolving through your discussion for the next generation. Next generation, who are the younger group. And we are the group, we who are built by the older generation who left us. Here today, when we are in a Christ University environment, it is our responsibility to create newer knowledge, newer explanations, newer dissemination process for the benefit of the society. Then only a university like Christ University can survive. Then only a university has a meaning to survive. Thank you for your wonderful presence. Have a wonderful time at Christ University in Bangalore. And Bangalore population today is around 9 million, in our terms 90 lakhs. It is predicted by 2030, our population in the city will be 1.4, what we call million, the 14 lakhs, 1 crore 40 lakhs. So it is going to be have an increase of around 40 to 45% in the city alone. A beautiful city, but we believe in heterogeneity and inclusion, and you can be part of that. Thank you. May God bless you.
After that call to be happy, the much awaited moment, and perhaps the moment of lifetime for some of us, has arrived. On behalf of the convener and the president, I humbly request His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the keynote address. And Your Holiness, if you wish, we can have the question and answer sessions at the end.
Respected spiritual elder brothers and sisters, and then, of course, younger brothers, sisters. I'm extremely happy, great honor to participate in this sort of today seminar. I was told over 37 different countries, representative from different countries, 37. So, different country, different faith, different culture, different language, but we all belongs to this small blue planet. I just, you see, tease the Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellor. He mentioned at the beginning, everybody you see looks very serious. So yes, looks serious. But firstly, the Vice Chancellor himself very serious. So, my usual sort of way, talk, completely informal and frank. So now I follow according to your instruction. No formality, no seriousness, but simply, rather directly about our real sort of problem. So of course, those very important sort of points, the spiritual leader already sort of spoke. Now I want to, firstly, I want to categorize audience here, people whose age over 50s. We actually, including myself, actually the generation of 20th century. Then those people, the age below, say, I think 30, 20, you are the generation of 21st century. I always feel our generation, we observed the much part of 20th century. Now, my own case, I born, as you mentioned, 1935. At that time, Sino-Japanese War about to start. In Europe, the potential of Second World War also growing. Eventually, the immense sort of violence in Asia in Europe. After Second World War, Korean War, again, immense violence. I think the American side, Allied troops, very, very destructive, powerful weapons. Other side, the limitless soldiers, wave after wave. But then, the Vietnam War. So, some historians say, in 20th century, people who killed in violence, through violence, over 200 millions. I always telling people, if that's such immense violence really create better shape of the world, a better world, happier world, that does not happen. So therefore, even at the beginning of this 21st century, some violence. Now, these very days, very moment, a lot of people killing in Syria, in Somalia, and some other places also. Particularly in this area, young children and women, old people, I think really suffer a lot. So this, I believe, the symptom of past 20th centuries, or say the certain concept. Through violence, you can win. You can achieve what you want. This century-old concept, you see, defeat your enemy or destroy your enemy is victory over yourself. Yes, in ancient time, to some extent, yes, people took, because of the people were. See, they more or less self-sufficient. So their own sort of future, their own prosperity were not depend on other. That kind of situation. And that time, according to that reality, the concept of war is perhaps some sort of relevant, maybe. Now, eventually, this reality, as you mentioned, you see the global level, all interest, all future, heavily interdependent. So the very concept of war is outdated. So therefore, now 20th century, although there are a lot of positive development also there, but however, the 20th century really immense sort of violence. So therefore, we can say the 20th century, sadly, century of violence. Now, this century, since violence bring only suffering, pain, and also the nature environment also, you see, the violence, war, very, very sort of damaging. And then these big factories which making weapons. See, this environment issue also, you see, these are, I think, very bad. So now this is some company, some country, produce a lot of weapon and selling, making money. Of course, of others' life. I think lack of global responsibility, a sense of global responsibility, lack of respect others' life. So now the 20th century becomes century of violence. Now this century should be peaceful century. Now peace does not mean no longer any problem. No. Problem not only will remain, but also increasing. I think increase. You mentioned, Vice Chancellor mentioned the population, the Bangalore. I saw some report. I think one BBC sort of report is mentioned. End of this century, world population reach 10 billions. Then already, even 7 billion, already there's huge gap, rich and poor. Global level, also national level. That also, not only morally wrong, but practically also source of problem. On top of that is the corruptions, the limitation of natural resources. So problem, I think, not only remain, but also I think increase. Of course, this gap, we must reduce this gap. So that means the wealthier people should be poor. No. The poorer section of people, their living standard must improve. So we need more natural resources, right? Or these things. So there are a lot of problems. And then due to global warming, the natural disaster also increasing. So now, so with more problem, more potential of crisis, and how to keep peace? Non-violent method. I think this country, Mahatma Gandhiji, implement his freedom struggle. He fully utilized 1,000-year-old India's tradition, ahimsa, non-violence. So perhaps at that time, some people may feel Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violent method is some kind of a passive way. Passive, kaza. Oh, there's a sign of weakness. The later, like South Africa, Nelson Mandela, I think in early part is some sort of little bit sort of militant thinking maybe, but later part, the fully sort of committed non-violent way to struggle. As a result, very peacefully transited, changed. And then Bishop Tutu carry work for reconciliation. These things really, you see, they practice the non-violence, practice non-violence in their serious struggle. Then America, Martin Luther King, civil right. Again, not by weapon, but by, non-violence. So now the concept of non-violence, you see, more area now, widespread. Right? So, this century should be century of dialogue. It's possible. Now, in order to create this 21st century, be as a peaceful century and century of dialogue, now ethics, very, very important. Now here, ethics and sciences, ethics and religions, ethics and humanities. Now here, I think many people agree with me. The ethics is not something luxurious thing. Ethics is question of our own survival. Science, wonderful, but nuclear weapon, these chemical weapons, immense destructive sort of weapons, you see, created by, knowledge of science. And a lot of technology really brings more fear. One occasion, I was in Deutschland. Any German here? Oh, so one time I was in West Berlin, then divided still. West German, East German, East Germany. So one occasion I was in West Germany, and then I stay, I think 1 or 2 nights, very close border. I'm just a visitor from outside, just I think 1 or 2 nights. And then during night, little fear. If something happened, the front line, so those nuclear or tactical nuclear weapons, the other side, ready to shoot. Little fear. So, you see the science, I think, unfortunately, sometimes you see, helping, develop or produce destructive power, destructive sort of weapons. So, scientists should have some kind of moral ethics. Actually, moral ethics is related with motivation, not just knowledge, motivation. So, every human action, human movement, whether become constructive or destructive, related with motivation. So motivation, more compassionate motivation, sense of concern of others' well-being, sense of respect others' life. Then every human action become ethical action. Out of extreme self-centered attitude. That's the basis of all destructive emotion. Anger, fear, all these very much related with self-centered attitude. So with that kind of motivation, then no hesitate to harm other, to exploit other, cheating other, bully other, finally killing other. Just think oneself. No concern about others' life, others' well-being. So ethic means related with mind or emotion or motivation. So scientific sort of finding, scientific development, whether be helpful to humanity or not, depend on ethics, not just knowledge, not just expertise. Right? Then religion. Look, not only in past history, but even today, different religions also, you see, causing conflict, killing. Among the same religious believe like Catholic, Protestant in Northern Ireland, in some other places, conflict. Same follower of Muhammad and same sort of practitioner of Quran. Sunni-Shia conflict. And Sri Lanka, sometimes Hindus, Buddhist conflict. Nowadays, in Burma, and also I think some extent in Sri Lanka, and also even some Indonesia, conflict between Buddhist and Islam, Muslim. So these supposed religion, supposed to bring inner peace. And the theistic religious or believer, they should consider the troublemaker also creation of God. One time in Jerusalem, some meeting, one Jewish scholar, one Jewish teacher, he mentioned he carried teaching in one school. And he taught, he mentioned in the class, there are Palestinian students and Israelis, both there. So he told at that meeting, he used to advise the student, when you met some people whom usually you feel some anger or some sort of uneasiness, then you should think that person, in the image of God. Image of God. So after some Palestine student reported to him, after we learned that, when we met some Israeli checkposts, some security personnel or police, they think that person also image of God, God's creation. So their sort of the emotion level very, very helpful to keep calm mind, they say. So the all major religious tradition, the same potential, to develop sense of concern of others as a same human creature, right? God's creature. One time in Ladakh, one Muslim preacher, in public meeting, he mentioned, as a Islam practitioner, we must extend our love to entire creature of Allah. So all major religious tradition, talking about practice of love, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, self-discipline. However, religion itself sometimes causing conflict. Again, and also, if may I say so, some religious people, a little bit corrupted people also there. I just mentioned the cardinal. Oh, I just mentioned, the present, Pope. Recently, it reported one German bishop dismissed. Isn't it? Because the bishop, very much luxurious lifestyle. And while in the church preaching contentment, suppose the teacher or preacher who preach contentment should carry simple life. So, the luxurious lifestyle, in the eyes of the Pope, see there's a big contradiction, what they believe. So he dismissed. So these things, so therefore, there are among Tibetan Buddhists also, there are corrupted Buddhists also there. I hope myself not yet corrupted. But if people, you see, too much sort of praise, then one day I also may corrupt. So it's a self-discipline, very, very important. Self sort of watching. So in any way, even religions sometimes are corrupted, and also not only corrupted, but also is causing suffering, problem, violence. So that clearly shows these religious people lacking moral principle, moral ethics. So now, question. Even religious people, sometimes unethical sort of actions to say happen. That clearly shows existing religious sort of faith. Some cases not adequate, not effective. Religion becomes something like ceremonial things. Recently, I was in Mexico. One casa, the mean casa. Pontificate University. They invited me and a large number of sort of students, and then also the number of sort of local Christian sort of priests or leaders. I told them, I expressed, sometimes, you see, it seems our faith only on dress or robes. When our robe put there, then no longer. As no longer sort of the faithful sort of red. I think genuine sort of believer. So long as the robes there. I also use just one yellow robe as a sort of monk, holy person. Then you see saying some nice things. And when that put aside, then so I told her like that. So therefore, whether we believe, whether we accept religious faith or not, entirely up to individual. Once we accept, we should be serious. We should be sincere. If religious people become hypocritic, disaster. You must implement what you believe. Otherwise, people lose respect and lose faith. So sometimes it is greater sort of also the damage, not outside sort of force, but within the believer, not carry their teaching faithfully. Then that's real greater damage than outside sort of religious enemy. Now here, also you see, important, I think the concept of one religion, one truth. When I was in Tibet, isolated, although there are, I think, last 4 centuries, some Muslims there, even I think the 5th Dalai Lama provided land for construction of mosque in Lhasa. So they remain very peacefully. Some Muslims. I personally also, you see, known a number of these Muslims. Very nice, very, very gentle. Now some of them, you see, now settled in Srinagar. They still carry Tibetan, Buddhist culture. They are Muslim, not Buddhist, but they carry Buddhist culture. I usually make distinction, culture and faith. Like in the West, Judeo-Christian sort of cultural heritage. But among Westerners, there are some Islams, there are some, nowadays, some Buddhists also there, some Hindus also there. So in any way, you see, these, I have some sort of, some knowledge about Muslim on the level of personal friendship, not much sort of their philosophy of these things. And then some Christians. So at that time, we a little bit isolated. So I always then I also used to feel Buddhism is best, like that. Then come out, meet a lot of spiritual brothers, sisters from different traditions. Then, and particularly, you see, the serious discussion, serious exchange, you see, their own experience, their own way of practice. Then I really developed genuine admiration that Christianity, I think that teaching really helps, I think, immensely for millions of people. I often used to telling the Christian brothers, sisters, I think really made maximum contribution regarding education and health and all over the world. Wonderful, wonderful. All these sort of enthusiasm or willpower come from their faith. Wonderful. So now the concept of one religion, one truth.
It's slowly kind of vanishing.
Now, realistically speaking, through my own experience, yes, the concept of several truths, several religions, it is reality. I think this very moment, there are different sort of, I think, follow of different faith. Yeah. So within this whole, it's the reality, the several truth, several religions there. So in terms of individual person, concept of one truth, one religion is very relevant in order to strengthening your faith, single-pointed faith. But in the terms of community, the concept of several truth, several religion is very relevant. So I think India, when you got independence, your constitution based on secularism. Why? India, over 3,000 years, a multi-religious community. So when India got independence, multi-religious country. So secular is very realistic approach there. So now concept of ethics, no matter how sort of wonderful one religious tradition, it cannot be universal, universally accepted. So different religious tradition over last about 2,000 years remain, and in future also remain like that. And it is better remain different traditions, because you see, each one have their own sort of beauty, I feel. So the variety of humanity, variety of human mental disposition, we need different way of approach. So long all carry the same message, message of love, message of compassion, message of tolerance and forgiveness. So different philosophy is different way of approach. It is necessary because of different mental disposition. So meanwhile, now out of 7 billion human beings, over 1 billion human beings non-believer. And among the believers, also you see a little bit rubbish believer also there. So now we really need another way to promote ethics. Some my Christian friend and also some Muslim friend, they little bit sort of reservation about the word of secular. see, they have this sort of impression. Secular is something a little bit distant from religion, and also sometimes secular is a little bit sort of negative towards religion. That's not the case, according to Indian understanding. Secular means respect all religions. No preference, this religion or that religion. Respect all religions. And also, over 3,000 years, according to Indian understanding, secular also means respect non-believer. One ancient, over now 3,000 years, one ancient Indian school of thought that we call Charvaka. So ancient non-believer and ancient, because of the materialist. So rest of school of thought of Dharma, spirituality, is criticized, argue that view. However, refer those people who hold that view, refer sage. Rishi means sage. So that indicates respect them. So therefore, the secular concept is respect all religions. Then, now ethics. Some my friend, again one time in Germany. I love German people, really. You are really hardworking. In spite of the whole continent, some economy sort of difficulties, your economy comparatively much sort of stable, much stronger, hardworking. And during Second World War, immense destruction. You both, I think you German and the Japanese, I think you built new nation from the ashes of war. At the same time, no sign of revenge feeling. Really, that I really sort of impressed. Many of my Japanese sort of friends, I asked them, do you still feel some negative thing towards America? Because 2 nuclear weapons, 2 nuclear bombs used on you. No. Rather, they rushing to copy American culture or American technology, these things. Germany also, when I very much impressed when Obama, during his election, it's a one short visit to Germany, to Berlin, I think over 200,000 German come, welcome him. So I really admire. You see, no traces of resentment. That's very good. So in any way, so one time, then I think still divided Germany. So one might talk, one German minister, you see, come at the beginning, sort of introduce me. So while we waiting, I sort of refer about secular ethics. No, ethics. Whether ethics should be based on religious faith or not. He say, yes, must be based on religious faith. I kept quiet. Okay. Then another occasion, my audience with late His Holiness Pope John Paul, the Polish Pope. I usually call Polish Pope. Wonderful sort of religious leader. Wonderful. So one day, because you see, we develop very close sort of feeling each other. I really admire him. I really respect him. So one day, I asked him, the moral ethics must be based on religious faith or not. Pope remained silent. One of his ministers then answered me, moral ethics must be based on religious faith. Again, I kept quiet. Now I believe, and then you see, as a result of discussion with number of scientists, many of them non-believer, but they really believe ethics. And then also, you see, those among those non-believer, I always see mentioning some sort of the Chinese Liberation Army. Really, initially, in early 50s, oh, wonderful. They really sacrificed their own life in order to sort of help, in order to sort of save some people. Really. So there is such sort of sense of concern of others' well-being possible without faith. So that I usually call secular ethics. So secular ethics can cover those non-believers, over 1 billion. And also secular ethics can be fit in secular education field. Secular ethics based on our common experience and common sense and scientific finding. Now many top scientists, and especially brain specialists, and also health medical scientists, now they actually, you see, last I think 10, 15 years, they actually, you see, carry experiment. Our brain, and also you see how much sort of effect health, certain sort of mental attitude. So they now confirmed more compassionate mind, the health better, because compassionate mind reduce fear, because compassionate mind reduce self-centered attitude. So automatically reduce fear, distrust. So as a result, person much happier. Too much self-centered attitude, no concern about others' well-being, then always in deep inside fear. Fear brings distrust, suspicion. So then finally, the person himself or herself, deep inside, feeling of loneliness. Other hand, more compassionate attitude. Respect others' right, sense of concern of others' well-being. Then that sort of inner door automatically open. Through that way, you can easily communicate. So then you get the feeling, oh, I have a lot of friends like that. So that immense sort of positive impact, effect on our health. So the secular ethics, now these things, not talking about next life, or heaven, or Buddhist, or Buddha, no, or nirvana. Simply, in order to create well-being, healthy body, you need healthy mind. And in order to have healthy family, fully trusted, fully sort of also the friendly atmosphere, you need warm-heartedness. Through that way, we can say, oh, happy society, happy humanity, ultimately related with the more warm-heartedness, sense of concern about others' well-being. Now here, I think as you mentioned, global economy and modern technology, And all these, you see now, creates oneness of the world. So now we need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings, oneness of humanity. So that not through prayer, not through meditation, but through education, awareness. Teach from kindergarten student up to university. That I feel very strongly. Now, I think in part of education, we need some moral ethics education, not based on particular religious faith, but these something universally sort of accepted. Then, in fact, all major religious tradition based on these secular ethics. So, secular ethics through education, once we develop full conviction, the practice of love, practice of compassion is best way fulfill my own interest. Then the faith, concept of God, or concept of Buddha, Nirvana, these immense help to further develop. So secular, not at all, you see, the against or distance from religion, but actually I feel all major religious tradition based on secular ethics. So that I want to share with you. So you should, I often used to telling people, self-centered attitude really, you see, creates more anxiety, more sorosity, because of the uneasiness. So I usually used to telling the audience, when I give talk, if I too much stress, I'm Buddhist. I think moreover, I am His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama, or I am reincarnation of God of mercy. If I too much emphasize that, then automatically I may act something very special person. Then that actually, you see, brings more anxiety, more fear here. And that automatically, you see, creates myself a little bit distance from the audience. So actually, that brings lonely feeling. Actually, too much stress on these self sort of importance. Then that actually creates you yourself as a prisoner of that sort of prison. Finally, you suffer. And also, you see, if I too much sort of emphasis, I'm something very holy person, then sometimes it also, you see, may be necessary to say little hypocrisy here and there. Acting a very holy person, like that. Then I think difficult to say this holy person, the reincarnation of our Lokeshwara, now no longer gallbladder. Because of the gallbladder stones, they're finally removed. So the holy person, actually not complete human body, something missing. So we should be realistic. We should be truthful, like that. So then I can easily communicate with any person, beggar or leaders. In my mind, no differences. So I always just look human level first and talk on that level. Then second level, believer. I am Buddhist, religious harmony. The third level, I am Tibetan, concerned about Tibet. Like that. So when I received the Nobel Peace, when it announced the Nobel laureate, then many sort of media people come and ask me, what do you feel? Then I answered, nothing special. I'm just simple Buddhist monk, no more, no less. Like that. So when I stress, I'm simple Buddhist monk, another human being. Then I feel very close, anybody. So no need to seriousness. Like that. So then, of course, ethics and humanity. Logically, humanity means recognize others as a human being. That does not mean just on the human physical, but the human feeling. Everyone wants happy life, do not want suffering, and everyone has the right to achieve happy life. So here again, the ethics. So ethics with science, very important. Ethics with religion, actually all religion based on ethics. Now here, then ethics and humanity. Now, when we are talking about 7 billion human beings, the ethics should be secular ethics. That I want to share. If you have some disagreement, then I apologize. Thank you.
It's my task to remember those who have made this morning possible for us. Many hands and minds have come together through their labor of love to bring us together here today and give this memorable experience. On behalf of Christ University and the convener of the conference, Dr. Father Kurian, and all gathered here, I sincerely thank His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, for his gracious presence here today and the enlightening keynote and the question and answer session. As a mark of gratitude, may I request the president of this inaugural program, His Eminence, Mar Basilios Cardinal Clemis, to present a memento to His Holiness. My gratitude is also due to His Eminence, Mar Basilios Cardinal Clemis, for presiding over this inaugural program and also for the presidential remark. I request the Vice Chancellor of Christ University, Dr. Father Matthew, to present a memento to Cardinal Clemis. On behalf of all those involved in organizing this program, I remain grateful to the Chancellor of Christ University, Dr. Father Aikara, and Vice Chancellor, Dr. Father Matthew, for the unflinching support they have extended as host and the message today. I thank all of you, the media, the participants, delegates, guests, members of Christ University and Dharmaram family, and many others who have toiled day and night to make this day, this morning, possible for all of us. At the end, kindly rise for the university anthem.
March on.